All right, so once we get a few more people in the room, I'll go ahead and officially start. But here I am in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So in the interest of also using your time well, can you tell me a little bit more about yourself and who invited you?
Like I said, my name's Tukwatanise Bonita. I'm a young entrepreneur. I think no one invited me. I invited myself. I just found this online. And I was like, let me join through. Maybe I could pick 1 or 2 learnings for the day.
Fantastic.
I'm a young entrepreneur. Yeah, I'm a young entrepreneur. Of recent, I've gone into I'm an environmentalist, looking at protecting our environment and how sustainably we can protect our environment. Yeah. So I'm just basically here to learn and familiarize with how things are going. Yeah, I had some time on me.
Yes,
Yeah.
and where about do you live?
I stay in Kampala.
Okay, where Paul is. So you might have found it posted somehow connected to Paul, right? Paul Mabura is on.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. And what is your business?
My business, like I've said, it's a young enterprise and young enterprise NGO, and we are dealing with protecting our environment.
And what specifically in the environment are you protecting? Water or anything else? Anything in particular?
No, we are looking at agroforestry and agroforestry, reforestation, and basically reforestation, planting of the trees.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We have several people that are planting farms and or helping people to learn to grow certain vegetables like maize, and Paul has a small program for about 300. I believe it's 300 people. And then we have somebody with another program in, is it Nigeria, Paul? Where is Agape from?
Agape is here from Uganda.
Oh, Uganda. Okay. And then we also have Olga, right? So Olga is not from Uganda. Okay. She's having challenges getting on because of something going on with the government there, right?
Right. She's from South Africa.
Yes. So it's interesting, you know, as we form this We Empower Africa, the types of people that have kind of come to the table are folks like you as well, and Paul and Olga and the other Paul. we have Joshua as well that should be able to join us today. Maybe you can ping him on the WhatsApp, Paul, that are all helping people with growing operations and also environmentally, Agape is involved in the environment. So this is fantastic. It's just kind of shown up that there's these people that are attracted to what we're doing, that are helping people from their heart. Like you are invested because it calls your heart, right?
Yeah.
So did you go to school in the area? Where did you get your education, and what inspired your passion?
I got my education from Makerere University here in Uganda.
Okay.
Yes. But what inspired my passion is that you realize in our Uganda or even Africa-wise, there has been constant cutting down of the trees, which is deforestation, and it's going rampantly. As the Pearl of Africa, as Uganda, we have been having a beautiful climate, beautiful sceneries, but recently it's all disappearing. I realized, we need to get back to the drawing board. How best can we make our country more beautiful again, more lovely, the climate to be amazing? So that is basically that drove my passion into this.
Wow. Well, on the image that you've provided, you're rather on the younger side. I'm on the other end of the spectrum in my 60s. And so between the two age groups, we have quite a lot of people that come into this meeting from time to time. So I'm glad to have you here. And Paul, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. You're a co-host with me on this. And you're the leader of the pack in a sense. So can you go ahead and introduce yourself so that she can learn a little bit about you?
All right. So I'm off camera. I traveled to the eastern part of the country to train. I've been training over 100 people here to do with teaching. Part of the thing that we do in the community-based organization, Fountain of Life, is to equip people in the area of teaching biblical values. And so this area called Kamuri, I had been called up to be one of the inspiring people to go and teach. And, you know, while you teach and help train other people, you happen to tell them the things that you do and they get interested. They want to know more.
Yeah.
So it's been a 2 days training. We've just done day 1. So tomorrow we'll do day 2. But, you know, I have lots of people who are interested in the thing that I do. So today they'll get a chance to see the fire starters that I carried with me to give as gifts, as samples, and then pick the conversation going. So
That's great.
But
Well,
Bonita,
I'll send you some funds to fund another round of fire starters as gifts to keep that fire going where you're able to speak and spread the word. Just again to let our new guests know a little bit more about you, because I know that you are involved in multiple things. With regard to the fire starters, can you explore that a little bit more, and then also get into your work to help people plant and also your children's program? Just real brief.
Great. Like Bonita said, cutting down of trees and the work around the carbon. So last year, I realized that most women struggle with lighting up a charcoal stove. And you know, many people cut trees in order to get charcoal.
Yes.
But then in addition to the charcoal, then they add, we end up attracting various diseases from the different materials that they use to light up the charcoal.
Yeah, things that are toxic with chemicals like sponges and plastic bags and things like that, right?
Yes, Bonita, she's very, very familiar with such a situation here around our country. So I made that product that would substitute those methods that people use. It's smarter, it is organic, it is easy to sell, it's easy to use, and it's been picking demands from different parts of the country and beyond Uganda. And this very week, I have been privileged to take on serious steps to certify it. And I'm excited. That will be a milestone for me. That will happen by June this year. It will be a great milestone to see a product and the story being told through that product. So, Bonita, when you raise that bell concerning tree planting, yes, I am a champion to that. And this very product, I'm very certain that at some point we'll be making briquettes, which again reduces the cutting down of trees. So instead of people using charcoal, now they have a different kind of material to cook. So soon that will come. Only that now I'm building on this product to make sure that it has reached to a climax. And so far we've had 7 versions. This month we'll be bringing out version 8. Every version is better than the previous version. which is exciting.
And
So
just so that you know, T. Bonita, I have been helping Paul with PR and marketing, and including redesigning his box for the product and involving my team. Our next step is really to capture this story on YouTube and be able to get that out in the media. So we're well on our way to, and also we co-sponsored and Paul attending a women's empowerment summit and being able to display the products there. So that's kind of my role here in the US, is just to use my talent, skills, abilities, and treasures to help folks there. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, and talking about that summit, getting into those spaces, it's amazing that the person who hosted it, since then we've bonded, we've built relationships, we've seen one another beyond the money and say, those things will come. All we need is to build these relationships. And she has entrusted me to oversee a certain area. And I'm going to be running an event. It's more like my company to run an event under her umbrella. And that's a wow. She wants me to host one for the entire nation as a Uganda. And then she will oversee the Trans-African Summit. And a funding opportunity came in the area of agriculture, and said, Paul, hey, you need to jump on this. And I jumped on it. So by 1st May, we will be submitting in some forms to see where it will lead to. But you see, it's an opportunity. They are giving out like a loan which is $500 million.
Yes, and with regard to that, if you need some help with your PowerPoint and or anything presentation wise, I'm happy to help, and I have other team members that might be able to help you as well. So
great. As always, with your generosity and a big heart to see that this thing grows, and that's good. Thank you very much, Bettina.
You're welcome. And then one of the other things, T. Bonita, was that I wanted to be sure that Paul was looking at a business model that might be really effective to sell these fire starter boxes. And there's a program here in the United States called the Girl Scouts of America, and it's not a corporation. It's like an NGO, but it's a nonprofit. And they have the children sell these boxes of cookies, and it generates the income that the clubs, the local clubs, use to do functions for these youth. And so that is the model that we're replicating there with Paul's product, is to teach the youngest of them all to be entrepreneurs right up front with their parents, and then to have their parents be also serving as well. So this is part of the mentoring program, is to give Paul ideas about business models and really help him to understand how to present well at a sponsored event, to be able to take advantage of the speaking opportunity, because we also did a script for him. So this is all that we're working on We Empower You, is supporting small businesses to be successful.
That's right. And it's just amazing, that very model that through I had shared, I think in the last meeting, that there was a school that had opened up a door for us to teach entrepreneurs, to teach the little ones business entrepreneurship. And it's been a plus for them, because now they are going to write newsletters telling the parents how entrepreneur these kids are. They have started gathering bottles. They are going to make, they called it my bottle bank. Remember the ideas of
there you go. You took my moon jar idea that I had shared with you. It's not, I didn't create it, but I shared it with you. That's a part of the mentoring that came from last week. So that's fantastic. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah. So it's a way to go. It's working. But Bonita, like your name says, togetherness. Let's get together. There's a lot that we can achieve.
We have a Zoom account that Paul uses for his children's youth ministry program. We have supported that. We've contributed funds to so he can host upwards of 70 or 80 or 90 kids in the youth ministry side. So can you switch gears and talk a little bit about that, Paul?
Well, yes, through the community-based organization, we are gearing up for a camp. It's holiday time this side. So they are looking forward, and some of the young people, they will be making the first starters this time around so they can earn school fees for the next term. They can't wait to get to do these things. And I've loved the model. Some of them, it's going to be selling this fire starter. It's going to be a challenge we are going to create for them who sells the largest number of boxes within a given period of time.
Yeah, that's great. And the contribution is very small per child, but then you also can provide something for them in, sometimes it's artistic in nature, sometimes it's fun and games, sometimes it's group activities. So I'm really proud of your program and proud to be a sponsor. So those are some of the things that we've been able to help with. I know I helped to fund a situation with Paul when he had his laptop and phone stolen. And so we were able to very quickly step in and get him at least a new phone. I think you had to find your way to a new laptop somehow. And then we did the same thing with Sarah, who's got young Godwin. He's just under 2, he'll be 2 in May. And right now we're funding, I always say we, because there are people that I can secure donations from, but a lot of times it's me. and he's had several hospitalizations. He's had malaria and dysentery, and he's had a major burn on his foot and his arm. And, Paul stepped in to take her to the hospital, made friends with the hospital. That led to a conversation with the possibility that they might use his services, his cleaning services too. So it is about togetherness. You're absolutely right, T. Bonita, and your name says it so, right? All righty. So that said, we often come to the conversation with just a mentoring topic. And while I was having dinner with my niece and my brother last night, we talked about what is networking, and are there certain individuals who have something extra special that really invites people to want to talk to them. And the thing that I realized in that conversation is that I had done a publication of some content in this area, and adding to the network and the hub that some people can be is this concept of synchronicity. So as we move forward, I'm always inviting the folks to really think about synchronicity within their network, right? So Paul and it looks like the other Paul, Magusha is coming on, and he's with Agape, and he can tell a little bit about his brand, but then I'll return back to the conversation. Let me have him introduce himself first. Hi there, Paul. Go ahead and unmute, and can you say your last name for me one more time?
Mogisha.
I'm a little bit dyslexic. Yeah. Sometimes I get the letters all tangled up. Okay, Paul,
Great.
Tell us a little bit about Agape and meet T. Bonita. Her name is can you put it back in the chat there for Paul? All right, Paul, tell us a little bit about Agape.
Okay, thank you very much. Agape Innovations Limited is a company that is dealing with dealing in agriculture. So basically, what we're doing is we are using innovation and technology to solve farmers' problems, and our innovations are quite unique in that they have 4 principles they run on. Number 1, they are science-led. Number 2, they can easily be afforded by the farmer. They are affordable. Number 3, they are easy to be used. It can be easily used by the farmer. They don't have to be complicated. And the 4th one, they are environmentally friendly. So those are the 4 basic ones. Innovation which fits into those 4 is what we take up. So we either outsource the innovations from around the world, things which are working for other people in other parts of the world, and then we bring them for farmers in Uganda. Or if we fail to get them, we think of innovating them and innovate a few things and then give them to the farmers. Basically, that is Agape for you. We began in 2020. We registered in 2019. We were in dormant phase until 2021. That's when we began serious work. Yeah, and so I really count 2021 as the year we began. Currently we are 9 full-time workers who are working with us, and I can confidently say that our products at least have reached every part of Uganda. Yeah, basically that is us in a nutshell.
That's great. And as I remember, you also are involved with very specific products because you have a background in the environment as well, right? Your education came in from environmental studies.
Yeah, I did my bachelor's in agriculture, and I'm now finalizing my master's in plant breeding and seed systems. So that's really where the passion is coming from, and I'm using what I learned in school to make this world a better place.
Well, today's mentoring program is going to be focused on networking and synchronicity. It's inspired by a conversation I was having with my niece and my brother, who are here actually with me in Puerto Rico. And we were talking about what networking, what it is, what it isn't, why do some people seem to be able to do it really well, and why do some get hung up in the process. And so I went back to an article that I wrote back in 2020, April 15th. So literally just 3 years ago, called "It's a Small World After All. We're all in this together." So T. Bonita, it's no surprise that you would be, your name would be represented in this conversation today for some reason. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about what I wrote, and then you can all weigh in and see where we might be able to move the dial for each of you as it relates to your network. So basically, I believe that everyone has had that experience of that small world feeling when you discover that someone that you've only just met has something in common with you. And when you apply the 6 degrees of separation principles that you might haven't heard about, and you apply it to anything, including COVID or agriculture or children, youth ministries, NGOs, you'll find that you end up being more connected than you imagine. In fact, while I was here, I went to dinner at a local restaurant and I met a nurse. I'm a nurse formerly, and we don't say former nurse, but retired. And I found out she's Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican. We found out that we dealt in case management. Each of us had careers in case management. Each of us has interest in the elder care of our families. And so it's like that. You run into people all the time that you are connected with. And every once in a while you find somebody who's really, really a connector. I'm one of those people, as you know. So uncovering just how connected we truly are was something that I focused on since about the mid-90s, when I started informally gathering together a group of women and having what I called critical conversations that were topic specific around their small businesses. And the group of women eventually formalized a name. It was called Women in Small Biz at one time, and then it became Women's Empowerment Marketplace. And now it's evolved to We Empower You. And it does include both men and women. And as at the first group meeting, it was really more like a coffee clutch, but within a short time, we began referring businesses to one another, and tens of thousands of dollars of referral opportunities were being exchanged. And I ultimately was serving about 5,000 women and a few bold men, as I like to say. And along the way, I discovered that there's this thing about the paradigm of 6 degrees of separation, as well as synchronicity. And the science networks professor Steve Strogatz uncovered that this phenomenon called synchronicity played an intrinsic role in connectivity. And he asked himself 2 questions. How can a population of dissimilar individuals suddenly synchronize? And how can a planet of billions really be connected? And from that intricate synaptic connections in your brain to the heart's ability to synchronize in order to produce a heartbeat, it turns out connections are required. Another gentleman, Duncan Watts, who's a mathematician and researcher, he devoted his life to the research of synchronicity. And together, Watts and Strogatz studied snowy tree crickets. And as they began investigating synchronicity, what they ended up discovering was that these crickets were behaving as a group. But who was listening? And which cricket was the leader? They discovered the intricate structure of the networks, and they have concluded that the secret is in the hubs that are critical to the network survival. Hubs like Google, Yahoo, Amazon, Facebook. Those are just some, but they also come in the form of humans like myself. They have become critical to the internet, but even more importantly, to social networks. And is it possible that 6 degrees of separation has been reduced to just 2 or 3 connections or steps instead? I believe that is so. And individuals who act like hubs are also reducing the number of steps to links and to folks to the outside world, globally, regionally, and nationally, which is how you find yourself to me. So here I started something called We Empower You here in the United States. It went global through a friend here in Seattle. Well, they're in Seattle. I was connected to Romeric Nadiri, who is out of West Africa, and he connected me to an organization inside of Uganda. And ultimately, I ended up finding my way to Paul, and now T, and so many others that are involved with us. And so individuals who act like hubs are also reducing the number of steps to link folks to the outside world, like I said. And you are all those people as well, because you have hundreds of people that you are helping. I know, Paul, you're helping about 90 kids or thereabouts. You have about 300 others that you're teaching how to plant. How did they find you? They had to have found you because of your heartbeat. They had to have found you because of this thing called synchronicity. Strogatz and Watts wanted to prove their theory. And so in the mid-90s, college students created a game that they turned out to be coined 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon. And a few random link searches shrunk the connections to about 3 or 4, and real evidence was created that small worlds do exist. And you can find more about that in Connected Power of 6 Degrees Science. What's the significance of the hubs, right? That's the question. So Hungarian scientists Albert Laszlo and Isaac Asimov asked, what can I do to predict the future? The structure and the behavior of the network. Events depend on one another, and their data that they studied was on the World Wide Web itself, and tracing links and growth of web pages. what they found was that the distribution did not follow a random bell curve, but rather most had very few links and a very few had tens of thousands of links, referring to them as hubs. And it seemed to be that there was an organizing principle of organization. And so Watts shared Kevin Bacon data finding hubs in Hollywood, and then Watts' hunch suggested a deeper truth. And the deeper truth is what we're going to talk about here today. So hubs evolve according to some pattern from within the human cell to telecommunications. And he and Sturgatz broke it down to a simple formula and concluded that networks have both strengths and weaknesses. Cells have tens of thousands of errors, but they function nonetheless. And if you remove the hubs, the system will fall apart. Watts concludes society and certain people are much more connected to others than the rest of us. And to that end, this is a network, and we intend on connecting more of you all to one another. And we are going to be doing this, for the rest of our days. And although I have written much about this over the years, it occurs to me that this may be something that can be replicated using these principles and having PDFs and press packets and telling a story using a YouTube video and other types of social postings that we can collectively and uniformly be represented in the We Empower Africa community. So it is that discussion that we are here for today. And again, as I said in the very beginning, although this is the Mentoring Friday program, I'm not just the only mentor. Everybody here is considered a mentor. So first of all, I'm going to invite Paul to ask a question or make a comment, and then each of you thereafter can follow up. Since he's been here before and done it before, he knows how to proceed. Go ahead and unmute Paul and take it away.
Great. I was glued these ends listening through. And well, that is the way to go. I think I've experienced growth. I think before I got connected, when you bring the two people now and the other Paul before I got into the network, you'll really see the power of networking. And like our post went outside there, when someone saw that, yes, your network is your net worth. And over time, someone said, so what is a network? And yep. I think I've come to appreciate that it has two words, the net and the work. So there are people who have the net, who have the cash, who have these nets. If it is fishing, they have the nets.
Yes, the net.
And then they also have the work. They have done the work already for me. And so the work that I would have needed to put in a lot of money, once I get into their network and they open up the nets for me, then I'm ready to catch more fish. So my question would be, are there people who just want to tap into someone's network and they are not minding about building relationship? All I need is, what do I get from you? And then once I have the fish, I'm out of your net.
Yes.
So to speak.
Yes.
So how do you get aware of that?
Well, it's really interesting. It's an easy answer, and that is when someone arrives to your network and discovers what you do, if they are the takers of the world, they will basically try to get you to do business with them and try to get you to understand what they do and this, that, and the other. And when they arrive, or you arrive to somebody else's network, if instead you're inviting a conversation to discover how you might help them or they might help you, essentially it defines who they are right away. You can tell a taker right away, because all they're doing is pushing, promoting, promoting themselves, whereas somebody who's really engaged in an opportunity to network is listening and asking the right questions to get down to where is the connection, where can I help you through this conversation, and through every conversation you have with me. I'm listening, Paul, to what you're saying in order so that I can see where I can help you, right? And recognizing that you had contributed some free products to your opportunity that you were having, I immediately could hear it, and I could say, oh, let me send you a little bit of funds so that you can replace that resource and keep yourself going. It's something that I can do. And you didn't ask me for it, right? I voluntarily did that. So that's how you know the difference between someone who's there to network with you and really partner up, and one who's a taker. Now, another comment I'll make about this is that setting yourself up to have what I call high integrity referral selling partners is really key to anyone's success. So when you find someone like yourselves, you are all high integrity, you are all referring each other business, or intending to if you can't in the moment, and you're partnering up. And it's that togetherness, T. Bonita, that we are all about, because We Empower You is based in the philosophy that when you want to go fast, go alone. When you want to go far, go together. And it is in the spirit of togetherness that we are going to go far collectively. So we, in this case, invite you to put down what it is you need. If there's something specific, you've joined the We Empower You community. We have a WhatsApp group. You can invite what you need in that group. And then there's people even outside of that group that get informed by me. And I have been able to find at least around 20 donors that have kept certain parts of this group floating. And so that's another part of the process, is to really identify specific people that you want in your network that are partners. Now, they don't have to be legal partners, like you don't have to draft a limited liability corporation or found a corporation together. You literally just need to have some minimal agreement where you are scratching each other's back, so to speak. I have partners and have had partners for going on 30 years, and I have transacted tens and even hundreds of thousands of dollars in this network, no matter the name, because of the high integrity referral selling process. So that is the answer to my question. Now let's open it up to our other Paul and T. Bonita to see what they might have to add for you, Paul Laburo.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, this is a very interesting topic for us, especially us in business, because the pressures of business and struggles we pass through tends to push us away to ourselves. Thinking about rent for the premise, or thinking about getting new stock. For people calling like, hey, we've made a loss here. Then a client calls, is complaining. So you find that you're really craving for time to be alone. And, the more you're alone, the more it's hard for you to balance these things of life. But networking enables you to not only to free up your mind, but also connect with people who may be having what you don't have. Sometimes it's not even about the money. Sometimes not about a client, but it's about talking to someone who you share something in common, as you said. Mm-hmm. She's a nurse, you're a nurse, and you really want to talk, and you find someone understands you. You're an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur. You're passing through the same things, and that psychological relief itself makes you push to the next day. Yeah, and I think that's where real networks begin when you're not, I personally believe a real network is created when you're not expecting something from somebody.
Yes.
But, you know, you're taking the thing as it is. You're not planning something, you're not scheming something, you know,
Yeah.
you're not, but you're really connecting to someone and creating an authentic relationship. And those relationships usually bring in results and feedbacks that are way bigger than if it had not been authentic or real, you know, because such connections come with patience, and you're not. What really takes patience away is because you're expecting something and that something is not happening, and then you become impatient and then end up making mistakes with someone, you know, and then you either give a bad picture of who you are or you end up making a mistake. But if you relate with someone authentically, if you make these connections authentically, you find, oh, before you know it, the guy's like, okay, I have some savings here. I see you're doing something with people. Let me see, can I find a way of helping out? And, you know, you're not expecting it, but you're trying to talk about like getting to share, and it works out. Yeah, so I believe networking is good. It's a thing that we ought to do. The only challenge is where and how. Where do you get people? How do you connect with people? Do you go for a date? Do you go to a party? You know, how do you find people? You know?
Yes, well, I'm always down for a good party, Paul. And when I was in the real world, when I was hosting events before 2020, I loved doing all of the in-person, but I would never have met any of you just doing in-person events, right? So the networking for me has evolved to Zoom, because then I can reach around the globe and help folks that could use my gifts and my talents way easier, because I can just, you know, send them over the, the telecommunication road. So you brought up a couple of things I just want to point out. And one of you, when you started out, you talked about, you know, making those choices of whether or not to even have more people in your life, because you might not be the kind of person that wants to have all those people in your life. I'm very selective too. I don't have a lot of energy to give to users and takers, so I'm very selective about who I do business with. And I'm always seeking very specific networking opportunities where I know I can be of value and of service first. And when I arrive and present myself, I'm always looking to see if I can help. And if I'm not inclined to be of service for whatever reason, like my trust factor isn't right somehow, maybe there's a little sketchy thing going on, I will walk away and go on to something else. The other thing I remember here you bringing up was just picking those right partners, making sure that they are a right fit for you. And this is what we're generating here. And then as it relates to finding the right partnerships, I personally believe it's not about the size that matters, because even though we are small here, we are a very powerful group already. Paul can tell you that he has catapulted and leapfrogged his business forward in this year span that we've known him. And, you know, it's not taken very many people. So combining the network with the idea of just coming to the We Empower Africa community as one of your sources. I know that Joshua is not here today, but he belongs to Toastmasters, a very large organization there in Uganda and in the hundreds in Africa. And he's basically, you know, has a really wide open network for him to work and be a part of. So begin with keep in mind that it's got to be something that generates your interest, your inspiration, your donation of time, talent, and treasures, and not the other way around. Because if you're not really interested, the networking is not going to work. I tend to lean towards business networking, but I also have found the older I get, the more recreational networking I do. And even there, I'm able to find business opportunities. So let's open the floor up to T. Bonita. It's great to have you here on your first day. Tukwa Nasi, take it away. Get you to unmute.
Thank you so much.
Yes, go ahead. Share with us your thoughts and
Glad
questions.
to be here. Yeah, glad to be here once again. And with this topic of the networking, personally, I believe, like they always say, your network is your worth. Diving into that perspective, I think it's one of the reasons why I'm here today to get to tap into my networks and see where can I get more understanding, where there is need to improve. Maybe along the way, just like I've been here and I've met now the two poles, and they have amazing ideas. Of course, I'm going to pick it from there. So yeah, but basically your network is your work. So I'm basically in for it that as Africans, as young entrepreneurs, we need to tap into our networks, because some of these things don't just come on a silver plate. You need to go out into the field. You need to explore yourself. You need to be adventurous, even if it's just 1 or 2 meetings, just attending. And now that Zoom, the online world has made it a bit easier that I can attend a Zoom, and still in a Zoom, I can't fail to pick up 1 or 2 contacts that will benefit me in my networks. So I believe this is great. We need to network more, to work on our networks. And then along in building those networks, we create the relationships that we need to see. They could be short term, or the better even long term, because along the way, from the short term, you get the long term process. Yeah, so I believe this is great, and I've learned a lot from you guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and we are grateful to meet. And I think feel free to share your contact in the chat, and we will right away add you on the WhatsApp group for We Empower You Africa.
That's great, Paul. Thank you so much for picking up. I was muted. So, and then it looks like Joshua has joined us as well. So we'll let him come in. And the comments that I would like to make, as again, having spoken with my brother last night, you know, he says in terms of networking, it's really about talking, getting your voice out there. As we talk about, your voice is your moneymaker, right? Nigel Henry is talking about, right, Paul? And then
Yes.
listen. And listening is the key, right? The more you listen, the more questions you ask about individuals. You'll notice that when I started this meeting, I did not actually introduce myself. I invited all of you to introduce yourselves. I'm going to invite Joshua to introduce himself into the conversation and catch him up. And then only later, if I will introduce myself, mainly because I'm more interested in what I can do to help you. And in order to do that, I have to listen to what you are all about. So there's my brother wandering around the background there. So go ahead. Welcome, Joshua. Go ahead and take the mic. Introduce yourself and give us a little bit of an idea of what the last few weeks have been like for you, because I know you're always here at these meetings. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Bettina. My name is Joshua. Maybe you can see my face. This is my face. For those who are not familiar with Uganda, it means Jesus loves you. It's a medical facility, and I happen to be the hospital administrator. So I'm also a member of We Empower You Africa, and excited to be here in this meeting. Sorry, I came in a little bit late. I had just an emergency meeting, and then I thought I was supposed to be on time, but sometimes emergencies, you don't plan for emergencies, so I had to attend to it first. And then when Paul sent me a message that we are missing you, I was like, oh, is the meeting still on? So good enough, I'd come back home here. Oh yeah, that's all about me. I love empowering people. Oh yes. Back to you, Bettina.
Sure. Today, we are actually talking about networking. And one of the things that I was speaking to you at the Wednesday meeting that we have for We Empower Your Life was about this Toastmaster groups that you're a big part of. And that group is of significant size and depth and breadth of the leadership that is in that group. And so one of the number one groups that I would go to if I was networking, too bad that Paul had to drop off, would be to network within Toastmasters. Another group there that I would be interested in joining would be Rotary, Rotary International, Rotary of Uganda, however Rotary is. And Joshua, I see your thumbs up. Absolutely. Toastmasters is a wonderful organization made up of people who are really making a difference. And since we don't have a physical presence and they do, I would continue to network. We were talking specifically today, Joshua, about networking and specifically synchronicity, how to use synchronicity to bring about a growing network, and or how to use even this network of We Empower Africa to grow your opportunities, because we seem to be attracting just the right people that all need to be in conversation. So did you have any thoughts just based on what I just brought to your attention, or any questions that you came to the group to have asked and answered today as we are in our mentoring round?
Well, good to hear, and of course I'll say it again. Rotary and Toastmasters, they are good platforms for networking, because the fact that themselves attract like-minded people. So when you subscribe to one of the groups, you're just the right person to fly with the egos. So maybe the next thing is how something small I could add, how we can convert. You usually use that term in
I think we lost your mic there, Joshua. You might have to repeat yourself. Your camera's already off, so I'm not sure if you're going to be able to come back. In the meantime, Joshua is an active Toastmaster, and also he is a recent winner of a contest that I was able to attend, and that was fun to see. And growing the network, it looks like we've lost him. Growing the network through another network is also important, because there are people in the Toastmasters organization or Rotary or any other networking group that could benefit from We Empower You. So while we're trying to get Joshua back on, We Empower You is a community, and we have a platform that folks can utilize to gain access to a large radio list, to get on the radio, a platform that includes being on the worldwide TV network with a 5-minute spotlight, a show spotlight. And then also we have a branding assessment from Admanity Protocol. So those are just some of the things that are part of the We Empower You membership. And we have a program called Just Say Yes, and that allows anyone who is interested in joining our organization and as a member can take 90 days to tap into all of the benefits and the features that we have on our website and the platform, and even have your own website created by us. That's a canned website from the We Empower Africa or We Empower You community. And then you can go out and see what you can do to drive in some of your own referral partners and even enroll some members. And of course, we pay you 50-50 on our membership fees. So that's a big chunk of change that everyone is able to get. And Paul, you've been with us for quite a bit as we're trying to get Joshua back on the call here. Can you go ahead and say a little bit about the membership?
Yes, I happen to have taken an opportunity to be a member, or just say yes member. And through that, I think some of the benefits that I've gotten through that, besides sponsorships, now I will talk specifically about the site, the website, which still through the membership, I was able to get the company email address, which of late now when I present it to some of the different places, you know, they see professional way of doing things. And still the site, there are some proposals or opportunities to ask for, to apply for some of these opportunities for grant, and they require you to submit a website, to submit a website based email account, and so small things, but make a huge difference in the lives of SMEs and businesses in Uganda and Africa at large. So it places you on a different level of operation.
Well, and one of the things that I often forget to talk about is that the We Empower You membership sites can be translated into numerous languages using a Google Translator that's built into the We Empower You platform. And so that really helps as well, because I know, like, for example, in West Africa, they speak French. And so your site, you know, we make it in English, but then if you hit a button, within seconds, you can read it in French. You can read it in Spanish. You can read it in any language that Google Translator has an available translation. And so again, if you're looking to apply for grants, you're looking for sponsors, and you need a website that really makes you look like you're a rock star, the We Empower You Africa and the We Empower You memberships are built to be really robust. And it looks like we've got Paul back, and then we need Joshua back still. So what else can you tell about the membership while we're waiting for Joshua to pop back in?
I like that peeping in and peeping out.
Yeah.
So that is back now. Now those are great benefits, and I know many individuals locally here. It's something that will change as we drive the journey of entrepreneurship. Some of those packages, some of those small businesses, once they say, okay, I can get a directory, I can be presented this way. Some different sectors, once we present these opportunities that the site is providing, there's a lot of potential that we haven't yet untapped into through the site. And the way Empower You has done, every time I get to listen in, I'm like, wow, we have gold before us, and we need to go and we need to utilize the resources that are available. And you know, one business at a time. Once you get it right, get the rest of the people, it will catch fire like in the forest.
Yes. That's absolutely right. So we've got Joshua back. I think we've got us all here now. I don't know if everybody can open up their cameras for a quick picture But whatever you can do without losing connection, that would be great. I'll take a quick picture of everybody. Come on. There we go. All right. So you were making some final comments, Joshua.
My final comment before my internet misbehaves. Before there is a wise counsel you dropped to me before you even look at this Toastmasters and Rotary.
Yes,
we can even begin with this platform. I see. I was looking at Paul. Is it Paul Mugisha?
mm-hmm.
He was already in the award category. That's already a plus for us here in Africa, meaning he's already somewhere top notch, you know. So just a network amongst us of you're telling me we could work with Paul Moviru. So if we come up as a team, I think together, just as we say, together we can go far. So it would be easier even when we storm like this partnership and meet these other people in Rotary and Toastmasters.
I 100% agree with you because it only takes a few power partners to really take off. And we're there. The people that are in this room, this is no accident. This is synchronicity at work. And this is the network. We empower Africa. We empower you. Together we will go far. Right, Paul?
Right.
All right. So this is Friday here in Puerto Rico, airing. This is Bettina Carey. And so if you've been watching there on Facebook at Post Tense, you can reach me through weempoweryourlife.com. Just click on the calendar tabs and attend any one of our Zoom meetings. I'm the founder and the CEO of both the We Empower Africa and We Empower You communities. We're global. We're so excited to be welcoming anyone who's willing to join this community. So be in touch. My phone number, 206-349-4297. We look forward to having you join us the last Friday of every month at the minimum for these mentoring sessions. On Wednesdays, our calendar has the We Empower You weekly marketing and strategy meetings, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then we also quarterly host the upcoming We Empower You Global Virtual Summit. Our next summit is coming up June the 14th. After that, it's September 13th and December 13th in 2023. And we look forward to having you back to We Empower You. Remember, if you want to go fast, go alone. When you want to go far, go together. And together, we empower you. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here today. We'll see you next time. Bye for now. Okay. I'm going to stop the recording here.